You know, it's funny, when somebody walks into the home for the first time, they're always wowed by the view, which is something I had nothing to do with. Beyond that, I want somebody to feel at ease in this house, right? That's really what it comes down to, is like, sure, you feel how luxurious the home is and you appreciate it, but luxury, I think one of the truest luxuries of your life is like to be able to take care of yourself and for your home to be a part of the process of making you feel at ease, because there's no better feeling than to feel at ease in your own home. My name is Hemal Patel, and I'm the developer of 879 Linda Flora Drive. I kind of caught the real estate bug very young because I would get picked up from school by both my working parents, who were corporate America, people that immigrated to America in the late 70s and built a life for themselves from the ground up. And real estate was something that was important to them culturally. So I grew up kind of getting picked up from school and going to showings and looking at homes and looking at apartment buildings. And their investment in real estate over the course of many years just has naturally led me into this part of the arena, because it kind of captures both sides of who I am, which is a sort of logical business front of this process, and also the creative part, which is like a deep expression of who I am. So what drew me to this project initially was actually the programming of the home and the sunken living room, the views, clearly, that was the main thing, and the view of the Getty, which was quite remarkable. And specifically the programming of the house that felt like it had a consistent flow. Like no room was blocked off from another room. Every room flowed into itself, and you could easily envision a life for a family in here, or for an individual that wanted to host a party. It worked for a lot of people because of how dynamic each room plays into itself, and also allows for a lot of sight lines between spaces. When you're from LA, you really get the dynamic and the play between all the different neighborhoods. And Bel Air has this unique perspective where it's mainly hillside and mainly large lots. And you get a lot of view properties. So it creates a unique combination of traits that is only available in Los Angeles. Like the fact that this piece of land that had a long driveway that can't be seen from the street, and then there's a pool, and then there's a flat grassy patch with an amazing view, and then a tennis court on top of that with the guest house below it, was something that was quintessentially Los Angeles, because this set of traits would not exist in any other city in a home to begin with. When I first spoke to our architect, Amin Ayub from AADS, who was redesigning existing plans that were approved by the city of Los Angeles from a solely aesthetic point of view. So structurally, he had to keep the approved plans as they were, and then he could mold his own aesthetic around the structural work that was already approved. I told him I wanted a pitched roof, and I wanted whatever roofing material we used to come down the side of the home. He took that idea and then ran with it. And I in my mind, that pitched monopoly house aesthetic is obviously very clearly Scandinavian for logistical reasons, because they have snow, so they need the snow to fall off the roof as it needs to in that cold weather climate. But I think here it puts you at ease, because it's kind of like if you ask a little kid to draw a house, what do? They draw the triangle with the two lines on the side and the line on the bottom with the door in the front. And that immediately, that visual of a house, which is a home, right, puts anybody at ease, no matter where you're from, in America specifically. The double arches came about because I wanted them in the house. I knew we were going to do a harsh exterior with the pitched roof, and I told Amin that I want an opening to either be clear and wide, or I want it to enclose a little bit with thick, deep arches. So Amin artfully picked spaces to put them in, and we use them sparingly and not excessively. I think sometimes arches these days can be sort of like repeated again and again, like you put them in cabinets, and then you put them in openings, and then you put them everywhere, and you can get a little arch happy. But I truly believe that the way we decided to incorporate them into the thick parapet wall, which slices the home between the pitched roof section and the flat roof section in the back, allows for a delineation that, again, puts you at ease. Like, arches are like a part of architecture history from the days of the Roman Empire. And they created them for their aqueducts, for their strength, for their stability. And now they lend themselves to an aesthetic architecture that people somehow are drawn to because of, I guess, how the arches create a moment in the house that welcomes you from like this 30-foot pitched roof entry, the 30-foot travertine wall, the compression of the pepper trees, and then you come into the home and everybody just wants to walk straight in and be welcomed by the view. The first point of inspiration was actually the Getty. Getty is an incredible piece of architecture in the history of America generally. People average spend 2 hours at a museum. People average spend time 6 hours at the Getty Museum, and that is a direct reflection of how intentional the architecture is in the spaces that they've created for people to consume that make them want to stay. So that sort of ethos is something that I wanted to bring into the house, and I want people to feel at ease in the home. So that was the first goal. The second part is that they've used travertine, and I knew I wanted that in this house as well. So sourcing the travertine, taking time to find the right tones, and specifically wanting two tones of travertine from the same quarry, but not the exact same. So if you notice, if you look in photos, the slabs are actually slightly lighter in tone and have more creamy and gray tones in it than the tile, which is a little more brown. The slabs of travertine and the tiles of travertine don't necessarily 100% match, but they definitely pair together like siblings that get along. And then honestly, the white oak was a natural choice because visually, sometimes you can't even tell the difference between where the white oak begins and the natural travertine ends. Like you can't really see it at all. And we have beautiful transitions in many spaces like the bathrooms. One bathroom in particular in one of the junior suites that we have, you literally walk into the bathroom from the white oak and you can't even see how the transition happens, and it photographs really well and it feels really good too. This home is all about the light and capturing it, and obviously capturing the views comes with capturing the light as well. And you're gonna see a part of the home that you never knew you saw before in that way because the light plays so differently in every season. So right now it's January, February, right? So the sun is really low. So we get light almost directly in. And even in midday all day, it's really low and it hits across this window behind me the whole day in a beautiful way, which is also great because it passively warms the home in the winter, which is really lovely. And it gives you like a breath of fresh air every time you walk into the space because you're always gonna get light directly, even though it is the winter. The lighting choices were all about reflecting the design intent around the arches, honestly. So in the dining room, I picked something with a nice curvilinear shape. In the entryway, I also picked something with a soft round shape. In the kitchen, you also see these beautiful arches inverted in the fixture as well. It was all about creating a softness because a lot of contemporary lighting can lend itself to being super harsh and linear and square, and I didn't want that. So it took a long time to source from various brands to get the right lighting the way we wanted it to look and to create a sense of like interest, but also sometimes like knowing that you like a space and not knowing why, and having the lighting be a really big part of that. One of my favorite parts about the exterior of the house are the mature trees. By far my most favorite thing, because you look out and you're just surrounded by these trees draping and framing every vista out of the property. And to have that, to be blessed with that in a new construction home is like, it makes your home feel like it's been here for centuries. And there's no better feeling, right? You love a new home, everybody loves a new home. But to have a home that's surrounded by nature that kind of embraces the home in a really warm and beautiful way is a really big blessing, especially when you have a new home. So you have amazing eucalyptus, amazing palms that logistically you couldn't even put on the side on a hillside if they were planted right now. And those were always meant to be kept. I've even fought for a fig tree that doesn't look very nice in the winter, but in the summer it looks stunning. So there's a lot of trees that I've purposely kept on the property because I guess I'm a tree hugger, but that's a separate conversation. But like, I think that the trees really make the property, again, in a way that you're like, wow, I love this place and I don't know why. But it's because you feel the sort of like generational strength of a tree. A big part of the mid-century modern design ethos is that form and function are balanced. And I think for me personally, function is almost more important than form. Form is always there, right? You're building a luxury home, like you're gonna have, form is gonna be there, beauty is gonna be everywhere, right? That's what this is about, right? But if it doesn't work and if it doesn't play well and the programming isn't right, then it's not worth doing no matter how amazing it is. In the ethos of thinking about function as a priority, the home is fully technologically equipped. You know, my general contractor and partner on this project, Chris and I, we talk a lot about how, like, design-wise, at least on the outside, we don't know if we can, on the exterior, we don't know if we can top this house. Like, it's just extraordinary. When you look at this house, you come down the driveway and you see how all the wood and the metal and the travertine and the landscaping and how it's all growing in so beautifully. We just like, sometimes we're just like, oh, I don't know if we can do it. And then when you come early morning, you know, before 7 a.m., the deer are coming in and they're playing, and you're just like, can we get this magic again? I don't know. We'll try. We'll see where the next one goes.